In today's video, we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into reality creation and why it's so good on the XR processor from Sony. If you ask around, Sony is kind of hard to beat when it comes to the processing and the way that it makes older content look with some of the way that it upscales picture quality. And it's just getting better and better every year. Now, why this is, there's a whole bunch of data out there that you can look up, but it's way too technical to explain in such a basic video like this. So I wanted to give you guys a better understanding of how this works and why you should be using it and what it actually does. What do I notice it doing, and what are the experts saying about it? So in a recent live stream on Stop the FOMO's channel, we had D Nice on there, and he was talking about how he liked the XR processor's version of reality creation, actually improving the detail more than it ever has before. And for that, I think that kind of hits the nail on the head of what I was seeing as well. I'm seeing things a lot more clear than they were before. The first time I really noticed this is when I had it side by side next to another TV, and it was just so much more clear than the other TV that it was next to. Didn't matter what the TV was next to it, it was clearer. I think it's fair to say that reality creation is not a sharpness enhancer. If you crank up the sharpness with Sony, you'll notice the whole entire image is getting sharper. But if you crank up reality creation, it's only bits and pieces that are having this edge enhancement applied to it. And it's just sort of just like where the details are popping out more. It's almost like it is upscaling the image even more than it is already. So yeah, you might have a 4K source, but when you talk about what you have to go through, when you have the lower resolution content, and you have lower resolution elements within the content, then sometimes you can get detail back within the content. And that's what I use reality creation for. I love to use reality creation in that aspect. It really seemed like the details were being brought out that was otherwise lost. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, what kind of lost details are you talking about? Well, when you think about some of the details that can be lost in content, you have to think about how the actual video file is being displayed to you. If it's being displayed with physical media, it's going to be a much cleaner image. But if you're streaming it on a low bitrate stream, it's hard to mimic the quality of physical media. Now, any details lost within that streaming process can actually be brought back somewhat with reality creation and even enhanced to the degree that is maybe a little bit past creator's intent. And so actually, it goes back to the same thing if we really don't know what the creator's intent was, and all we can do is try to get close to an accurate picture if that's what you're going after. But for those that don't care about creator's intent, this is actually something that I suggest everybody uses because it is such a good tool. And it's one of the things where you could either use it in a subtle way and it improves your details, or you can crank it up. And I think Sony really markets this a really great way because it is sort of creating something that wasn't there before in a way. So in these next examples, I'm going to show you guys how I use reality creation. Now, this isn't going to show you how you should use reality creation. Really, how you use reality creation is going to be totally up to you. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it a certain way. It's really your personal preference. Honestly, I crank up reality creation on a lot of content when I had the Sony TV, and I loved it. Here you can see me playing with the reality creation on this picture of this lion here. I'm trying to show you how it brings out the fur a little bit more without over sharpening it. And I think that I had a reality creation at a little bit higher value than most people would want to have it. But then again, it's personal preference and it all really depends. Now, personally, what I found the best for reality creation is when I was on 4K Blu-rays, I would only really use reality creation at its default 20 on manual or on auto. And I saw that it did a really good job at just kind of cleaning up the image and bringing back any sort of lost details that I had. Now, when it comes to the lower resolution content, when it comes to 1080p or 720p, I'm cranking this thing up to like 40 or 50 sometimes, and it really does look good. And maybe for some people it might be too artificial, but that's what I do, and I really do like it. I think it's really awesome, and I think that if you have a Sony TV, you should try this out because I was finding some pretty cool results with it. There was this QNED demo that I was trying out through the YouTube app, and I would put reality creation on with some of the gems that were being displayed and some of the jewelry that was there. And oh my goodness, it just cleaned it up so good. And it almost looked like the jewelry was like right in front of me. And I am so like into that. That kind of look to me is what I want out of a TV. I don't want something that looks very blurry. I want something that looks nice and clear. And it's not about like cranking up the sharpness here. It's nothing like that. And I think it's something you have to see to sort of believe. I think a lot of people that have a Sony TV can attest to this too. It's just there's something about what reality creation does that is just different. I really hope that I see something like this on TVs going forward from other brands. I think it is such a cool method of upscaling just lower resolution stuff. And even if it's not lower resolution, maybe it just got compressed down when you're saving the video file and uploading it to YouTube. And I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I do a lot of YouTube demos. So like reality creation really stuck out when I used it with that content. A really interesting test that I wanted to point out was we had this demo with the lions underneath the stars, and if you crank up reality creation while this image is going on, you can see some stars that you didn't see before just start popping into the picture. And I don't know what's going on with that, but you're getting more details brought back into the picture. So like when you crank up reality creation, and I had it at an extreme value of 70 in this example, look how many stars just come into the picture. I found this to be a really interesting thing that I discovered here, and that just kind of goes to show you that it's not just sharpening, it's bringing details back that were lost. Some of my favorite shows are in 1080p or 720p on Netflix, and they're not even in HDR, but with reality creation, I think that this is such a good tool for those things. And you could even crank up live color on the Sony and then use black adjust, and you can create a artificial looking image, but it still looks real to me. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe this is something that isn't for everybody. You might be more of a creator's intent person, and that's totally fine, but I just like the best image I can get personally that I like. If you want to know all the Sony settings that I used, go ahead and check out the Sony settings video that I did if you haven't already. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Please click the Amazon affiliate links if you want to help out the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.